They're not reaching out because they miss you. They're reaching out because they feel your absence. And that's a crucial difference. One is about you, about them realizing your worth, regretting their choices, wanting to rebuild. The other? It's about them, their comfort, their control, their need to make sure you're still within reach. And if you're not careful, you'll mistake their message for something it's not. Closure, remorse, real change. But let me tell you something the Stoics understood long before modern psychology confirmed it. The person who controls your emotions controls you. And an avoidant X. They know exactly how to pull you back in. They don't reach out because they've had a sudden epiphany about how much you mean to them. No. They reach out because they've noticed your silence. They've felt the shift in energy, and that unsettles them. They don't like the idea of losing access to you. They don't want to be with you, but they don't want you moving on either. And if you're not aware of this, you'll walk straight into their trap thinking it's fate. You see, avoidance isn't just a personality trait, it's a strategy. They disappear when things get too close, when intimacy demands more than they're willing to give. Then, just when you've stopped checking your phone, when you've started breathing without that heaviness in your chest, they reappear. And it's not random. It's calculated. They don't reach out because they want to fix things. They reach out because they want to see if they still can. And the moment you respond, whether with anger, sadness, or hope, you prove that they still have a hold on you. But what if this time you handled it differently? What if, instead of reacting, you responded? Instead of getting pulled back into their cycle, you broke it. Marcus Aurelius once said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." And that's exactly what we're going to do today. By the end of this video, you won't just know how to handle an avoidant X when they reach out. You'll know how to make sure their reach never pulls you back. So stay until the end, hit that like button, and subscribe for more wisdom that'll change the way you see these mind games forever. And if you're ready to step into your power, drop this in the comments. I am in control, not them. Also, if you want to support the Ace Wisdom family and help us create even better content, become a channel member. Click the link in the description. Let's build something powerful together. Now, let's get started. Stay focused. Ace Wisdom presents How to Handle an Avoidant X When They Reach Out. Key point 1. Don't take the bait. Their reach isn't about you. When an avoidant X reaches out, your mind will want to do what it always does. Search for meaning. Why now? Do they miss me? Have they finally realized what they lost? You'll be tempted to decode every word, every emoji, every pause between messages. And that's exactly where you lose control. Because the moment you start searching for meaning in their actions, you put them back at the center of your world. But here's the truth most people don't want to accept. Their message isn't about you, it's about them. Avoidant people don't reach out because they've had some grand emotional awakening. They reach out because something in their world feels off. Maybe they expected you to check in, and you didn't. Maybe they assumed you'd be waiting, but now you're silent. Maybe they're feeling lonely, or someone else they were seeing just pulled away. Whatever the reason, it's not about regret, love, or change. It's about checking if you're still within reach. Think about it. If they truly valued you, if they were ready to step up, wouldn't their actions have shown it before the silence? Wouldn't they have fought to keep you instead of waiting until you started slipping away? But no, that's not how avoidance works. Avoidant people only engage when they feel control slipping. They like knowing you're there, even if they don't want to fully commit. It reassures them. It makes them feel powerful. And the moment you respond, whether with excitement, anger, or even just curiosity, you confirm that they still have that power. This is what the Stoics called external control. Epictetus said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." You can't control whether they reach out. You can't control what they say, but you can control how you respond, and that's where your power is. So, the first rule when an avoidant ex reaches out: don't assume their message means what you want it to mean. Detach. Observe. Don't rush to reply. Don't craft the perfect response. Because the moment you react emotionally, you step right back into their cycle. And trust me, they know exactly how to keep you there. Let them wonder. Let them feel what it's like when you're the one who's unpredictable. That's when the game changes. Key point number 2. Break the pattern. Stop playing their game. An avoidant ex thrives on predictability. They disappear, you chase. They pull back, you overthink. They return, you respond. Sometimes with hope, sometimes with anger, but always with engagement. And that's exactly what they want. They don't need you to be happy with them. They don't even need you to trust them. They just need to know that no matter what they do, you're still emotionally invested. But here's the truth. Every time you react the way they expect, you reinforce the pattern. You prove that their push-pull dynamic still works. That they can vanish without consequences, knowing that when they return, you'll still be there, waiting, wondering, hoping. The Stoics had a principle called amor fati, love of fate. It means embracing reality for what it is, not what you wish it to be. Right now, the reality is this. You've been playing their game, and it's time to stop. So, when they reach out, do something they won't expect. Don't respond immediately. Let them feel what it's like when you're no longer emotionally available on demand. If you do respond, don't pour your heart out. Keep it neutral, short, and detached. No essays. No rehashing the past. No asking why they disappeared. Because the moment you seek clarity from an avoidant, you give them control. And if their message is vague, something like, "Hey, how have you been?" Or, "Thinking about you, understand this," they're not offering anything. They're fishing. They want to see if you'll bite. If you respond with deep emotions, they'll pull back again. If you respond with anger, they'll play the victim. If you don't respond at all, that's when they start to feel unsettled. Marcus Aurelius said, "The best revenge is to be unlike the one who caused you harm." Your avoidant ex expects you to be reactive, emotional, and eager to reconnect. Flip the script. Be the one who doesn't fall into the same old cycle. That's how you break the pattern. Key point number 3. Control the frame. Shift from reaction to power. Right now, your avoidant ex is controlling the frame. They decide when to leave, when to return, and when to test the waters. And as long as you're reacting to their moves, wondering what their message means, debating how to reply, feeling anxious about what comes next, you're playing their game, not yours. But here's the shift that changes everything. Stop reacting. Start leading. Instead of letting their message dictate your emotions, ask yourself, what do I want? Not What do they mean? Not, should I reply, but what do I actually want in my life? The Stoic philosopher Seneca said, "If a man knows not which port he sails, no wind is favorable." In other words, if you don't know what you want, you'll always be blown around by their mixed signals. But the moment you decide, I want peace, I want real love, I want someone who doesn't make me question my worth, their reach-outs lose their power. So, take a step back. If they're not offering genuine effort, commitment or change, why are you even considering re-engaging? If the answer is loneliness, nostalgia, or the hope that maybe this time will be different, be honest with yourself. Hasn't this cycle played out before? Hasn't it always ended the same way? The real power move isn't silence for the sake of making them chase. It's silence because you genuinely don't care anymore. And when you reach that place, when you stop waiting for them to change, stop hoping for an answer, stop needing closure, that's when they feel the shift. That's when you control the frame. So when an avoidant ex reaches out, ask yourself one question. Does this serve the life I want to build? If the answer is no, let it go. Because nothing confuses someone who expected control more than realizing they have none. Key point number 4. See through the illusion. Closure comes from you, not them. An avoidant ex reaching out can feel like unfinished business. Like maybe, just maybe, this is your chance to get the closure you never had. To finally hear them say, I was wrong. I was scared. I should have fought for you. But let's be honest. Has an avoidant ever given you real emotional depth before? Have they ever sat down, taken accountability, and given you the clarity you deserve? Probably not. And they won't start now. Here's what you need to understand. They're not coming back to give you closure. They're coming back to keep the door open, to make sure you're still an option, to see if you'll still engage. Because as long as you're waiting for closure from them, you're still tied to their energy. You're still in the loop. But Marcus Aurelius put it perfectly. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Closure isn't something they give you. It's something you decide. It's looking at their message and saying, I don't need this anymore. It's realizing that their return doesn't change the past. It doesn't erase the times they pulled away, the nights you overthought, the way they made you question your worth. So when they reach out, don't fall into the trap of thinking, maybe I'll finally get answers. You won't. The only answer you need is this. Their inconsistency is your closure. Their inability to show up fully is your answer. And the moment you stop seeking validation from someone who could never give it, you're free. So next time they send that, hey, how have you been? Text, remember, they're not offering peace. They're offering another loop, and you don't need to step back into it. Key point number 5. Detachment is power. Stop seeking. Start choosing. When an avoidant ex reaches out, your biggest mistake isn't just responding, it's seeking something from them. Whether it's validation, an apology, or just a sign that they still care, the moment you look to them for emotional reassurance, you give away your power. But here's what the Stoics knew. True freedom comes from detachment. Epictetus said, wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants. The same applies here. The less you want from this person, the freer you become. The moment you stop needing their explanation, their attention, their presence, you win. Think about it. Right now, they still hold a space in your mind. You wonder what their message means. You overthink your response. You debate whether ignoring them is the right move. But why should someone who's given you so little take up so much space in your life? This is where you shift from seeking to choosing. Instead of asking, why are they reaching out? Ask yourself, do I even want this in my life? Instead of thinking, what if they've changed? Remind yourself, it's not my job to wait for someone to become emotionally available. Detachment doesn't mean you don't care. It means you no longer let their actions dictate your peace. It means you see them for who they are, not who you hope they'll become. And when you reach that level of clarity, their message no longer feels like a test. It feels like an afterthought. Because that's exactly what it should be. So, next time they reach out, don't react. Don't overanalyze. Don't wait for answers. Just remind yourself, I don't need what they're offering. I choose something better, and that's the end of the story. You've just learned how to handle an avoidant ex when they reach out. But the real question is, what will you do with this knowledge? Will you fall back into old patterns, overanalyzing their every word? Or will you stand in your truth, break the cycle, and move forward with power? Because here's the reality, you don't need their message, their validation, or their fake closure. You don't need to prove anything to them. The fact that they're reaching out already proves something. They feel your absence. But that doesn't mean they've changed. That doesn't mean they're ready to give you what you deserve. And it definitely doesn't mean you owe them another chance. Remember the words of Marcus Aurelius. It is not death that a man should fear, but he should fear never beginning to live. Stop living in the waiting room of someone else's indecision. Stop holding space for people who only return when they feel like it. Let them wonder. Let them regret. Let them deal with their own avoidance. Your only job is to move forward. If this resonated with you, hit that like button, subscribe for more wisdom, and drop this in the comments. I choose myself. Own it. Declare it. Make it real. And if you're ready to go even deeper into the mind games avoidant exes play, watch the next video. What avoidant exes secretly want when they come back. You won't want to miss this. And remember, stay focused. More wisdom coming your way.